Well, for more on these nationwide outages, we reached Kai Prague in Brampton. He is a senior vice president at Rogers. We'll get to what happened in a moment, but I think the first thing that everyone is going to want to know is, when will this be fixed?
Okay, so as of now, we do not have an ETA on when the problem will be fixed.
Can you say that it will be today? Like, are we talking hours, days?
Yeah. So where we are right now, we are we're investigating the root cause of the failure that's impacted our customers coast to coast. We're getting very close to understanding the root cause of the failure, and we're taking actions along with our network vendors to recover the situation. But I do not have an ETA at the moment.
See, I do just want to be crystal clear. I can tell you're having a difficult day, Mr. Prague, and I'm not trying to belabor the point, but this won't necessarily be fixed today. This could be a situation that goes on for days.
We are working very, very hard on this. As I said, we haven't identified the root cause yet. We do see some signs, some good signs of the actions that we're taking, making a difference in terms of bringing the network systems back online again. But we do not yet have an ETA for full recovery of the networks. I wouldn't like to say whether it's going to be fully online today or not, but we are working very, very hard on making sure that we get everything running as soon as possible.
I appreciate that you don't know the specifics of the root cause, and frankly, I don't want to get too technical here, but can you say whether it was, for instance, a cyber attack, or whether this is an internal problem?
We don't have a root cause yet. We are focused very, very hard on obviously understanding that root cause and restoring service for our customers. Obviously, as soon as we restore the service, we will then start to understand, obviously, in depth the root cause of this. So I wouldn't like to speculate, to be honest, and it's too early to speculate.
Okay, how many people have lost internet or phone access today? How many people are affected?
Millions of our customers, coast to coast, are impacted on our wireless network as well as our wireline networks, as well as our enterprise customers. So it's obviously quite a big impact to our customers coast to coast.
Can you say how many millions of people?
I can just tell you millions of customers are impacted.
Okay. Those people who are impacted are, I'm sure, wondering how this could happen. I appreciate you just told me you don't know the root cause. They may be asking, though, like, obviously you are a massive telecom network. Why were there not enough fail-safes in place to prevent something on this scale?
So the network is built in a way, including multiple levels of redundancy across the networks, and so. As I said before, we don't yet understand the root cause of why this has happened. We don't understand how the different levels of redundancy that we build across the network coast to coast have not worked. And so, as I said before, we're working very, very hard on getting to that root cause and recovering.
This is an incredibly frustrating day for you.
I think it's a frustrating interview as well. I'm sorry, I can't go into more detail around that. I personally understand how frustrating this is for our customers across the country, that they have not been able to use these services, and I can assure you that we are working very, very hard here in our we're in our network operations center. Our engineers are on sites all across the country working very, very hard to restore services. So as soon as we can, we will have things running again.
I'm sure there are a lot of folks cheering you on in the sense that they do want you to have success with that. I do have to ask you, yes. Though, this is a frustration for some people. It is more than a frustration for others, from what we understand. There are questions about people, even though 911 is still operational, who have Rogers cell phones and aren't able to access 911. From what I understand, that's not supposed to be the case. Aren't you supposed to ensure that cell phones can access 911 even when they don't have service?
So there are some impacts to 911 calls on the network. And as we recover the network, we are prioritizing the mobile part of the network. So we get that part of the network up and running as soon as possible. So that is our priority, to restore those services and other blue light services across the country. Okay, I'm being called into our incident room here. So I need to head off. I hope I've answered all of your questions.
Well, the last thing I'll ask you, sir, is just,
Okay.
I know you're still trying to fix this, but can you promise people that you guys are going to get this under control? This isn't going to happen again, because you know that there are customers who are going to walk away after today.
Absolutely. All of our focus is on getting this up and running as quickly as possible. We want nothing more than that.
I know it's a very stressful day for you, Mr. Prigg. I appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Now to hear from the government, we have reached Greg Fergus. He's the Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister and to the President of the Treasury Board. Hi there, Greg Fergus. You just heard that interview. I know you yourself are affected by this outage. What did you think about the answers? I think I see you laughing there. What do you think about the answers that Rogers had to provide?
Well, I'm just happy to be able to join this interview because, like millions of Canadians, my system is down. My company uses, my provider uses Rogers as a backup. I'm in Halifax today, so that's their provider when I'm in Atlantic Canada. And I'm borrowing somebody's Wi-Fi to be able to participate on this telephone call, on this video call. It goes from the mildly inconvenient to the serious issues of not having access to 911, businesses not having access to interact. All today, using cash, which is, when's the last time you've done that? So it has been a really tough day.
Well, so I want to know what you think then when you hear this Rogers executive saying not only do they not quite know what's wrong, they also can't say that it's going to be fixed today.
Yeah, look, I can imagine that they are just, doing everything possible to get things up and running. There's no profit in not providing a service that has become to us like air that we breathe. We just don't realize it's around us. We use mobile services and data services. So, it's part of our lives now. It's fully integrated. So I can imagine they're under a lot of pressure. But it's really important that they communicate clearly with their customers and to let us know, when we should expect things to come back online so that we can adjust our lives accordingly.
I also asked the Rogers executive, Mr. Prigg, about the cause and whether we could rule out the idea that this was a cyber attack. He wasn't willing to say. From the government perspective, I'm sure Canadians would like to know whether this is something that's malicious or just sort of a failure of the system. Is there anything the government can say about that?
Well, look, what we can say is that according to the Canadian security establishment and their analysis shows that this is not a cyber attack, but this is early going. If the more sophisticated the attack, I guess the trickier to be able to see it. But at this point, I think we can reassure Canadians that it's not a cyber attack.
I know Bill Blair has tweeted out that the government is monitoring the impacts of this. You talked about some of them a moment ago, but I want to dig on one in particular, which is this question of 911 and some people's phones not having access to the service, even though the service itself that's working. We're hearing about cities like Toronto, Vancouver, Fredericton, Winnipeg. Isn't that not supposed to be the case? Is there not a commitment that telecommunications companies make to ensure that even if service isn't available, that the phones are still supposed to be able to access 911?
Precisely. It's part of their whole process and their licensing process that they produce a whole bunch of robust systems, fail-safe systems, to ensure that these services can always be provided. We seem to have just hit that one time in I'm assuming a million, where the fail-safes failed. So there's going to have to be a lot of investigation not investigation, but I'm certain there's going to be a lot of discussions as with Rogers as to how this happened and how to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Sometimes, these. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, you seem to be saying like it's unfortunate, but it happens. But I guess what we don't know right now, Greg Ferguson, and I'm certainly not trying to be alarmist about this, but if people can't access 911, like this could put someone's safety, their life even in jeopardy. So is there action that the government is going to take, given that telecom companies are supposed to be doing this? Is there not some sort of follow-up or consequence for them?
Well, certainly there's going to be I'm certain that there are, and I'm not familiar with the precise details of how it works when these kind of situations do happen. But I do know that a bunch of robust systems had been planned and built into the infrastructure. We want to make sure that Canadians have a system that they can rely upon. And, by and large, today notwithstanding, it has worked. So there has to be a real good look to take a look at what failed. And how do we make sure that systems can handle that, and perhaps new ways of looking at making sure that these systems hold up.
I want to talk to you about something that NDP leader Jagmeet Singh tweeted today, because it's not just a criticism of the telecoms, it's a criticism, frankly, of your government. He says that the outage highlights the dangers of a monopolized industry and says that these are, quote, the consequences of a Liberal government that is fixated on protecting the profits of telecom giants. The Liberals have previously promised to improve telecommunication service in this country by increasing competition. So what does your government have to show on that front at this point?
Look, the government has always been taking a look at the allocation of spectrum, which is what these companies use. We want to make sure that Canada has a more competitive market. We want to make sure that Canada has a more affordable market so that Canadians can get access to data and mobile services as cheaply as they are in other countries. And we also, certainly today raises it, we want to make sure that it's a reliable network. So I don't think this is a time for, frankly, a political drive-by here. This is really a time to making sure that we have it.
I mean, you're saying it's a drive-by, but is he wrong that there's not too much concentration? Given we don't even know how many millions of people are without service. Does that not kind of prove the point that there is too much concentration right now?
Well, we also believe that there's too much concentration, and this is the reason why when we're allocating spectrum, we want to make sure that we have a more competitive market, which means more new entrants coming into the system. So I'm not certain what kind of magic wand he would like us to raise to be able to solve this issue.
Well, you've been respectfully, you've been in government for years now. I don't think getting it done in 7 years wouldn't be a magic wand, right?
No, but there's been some, for example, I use not Rogers, not Bell, but I used a smaller company, Fizz, which piggybacks on the network of one of the companies, and they provide me with a much cheaper mobile access and data access. And millions of Canadians are like me, and they use these companies like Fizz to be able to access the internet and to have mobile services. That makes a big difference. My costs have gone down, as have millions of Canadians' costs have gone down for having access to these services. So that's a kind of environment that we're trying to encourage and to making sure that continue to exist.
But I guess the flip side of it is that you don't have internet access today either. Anyway, Greg Fergus, I think it is clear to everyone listening and in this discussion that there is more to do on that front. We thank you for taking the time to talk to us about it today.
It's a pleasure to join you, and good luck, everyone.
Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.